Forget the pleasantries. Forget the market reports whispering sweet nothings in your ear. We're not here to talk about ETFs or yield curves. We're here because you felt it, haven't you? That cold, slick dread coiling in your gut like a viper. You're punching through the morning commute, already bleeding minutes when it happens. The dashboard lights up like a goddamn Christmas tree of doom. Check engine. It's not just a light, it's a siren wailing a $300 warning shot across your bow. A trivial sum, right? A rounding error for the titans of Wall Street. But for you right now, in that moment, it's a death sentence. Your checking account? A barren wasteland, measly $42 standing between you and utter capitulation until Friday. So you do what any desperate soul does. You ignore it. You crank the volume on the radio, trying to drown out the nascent death rattle of your transmission, praying to a God that clearly doesn't answer financial petitions. 2 months. That's all it took. 2 months for a $300 whisper of a problem to metastasize into a full-blown financial amputation. The highway shoulder becomes your tomb. A tow truck, another $200 vanished into thin air. The original, ignored flaw, it ripped through your transmission like a cancer, leaving a $2,000 crater in its wake. Because you're stranded. Because you can't hustle. 2 shifts evaporate, another $300 bleeding from your already exsanguinated wallet. That initial, agonizing inability to cough up $300 has detonated into a $2,500 catastrophe. This isn't just bad luck. This is a mathematical trap. A meticulously engineered prison. It's the distinct, measurable, and suffocating cost of simply not having money. The invisible chains that bind you. My name is Bobby, and I am a financial autopsy surgeon. I dissect the invisible levers, the hidden algorithms, the predatory architecture that keeps millions of good, honest people gasping for air on the relentless hamster wheel of existence. If you're grinding harder each year, feeling the bones in your back scream, yet your bank balance remains a flatline electrocardiogram of despair. If you know deep down that one rogue Tuesday could rip your entire financial year to shreds, then slam that subscribe button. Don't just like this video. Internalize it. Because today, we aren't chasing the ephemeral highs of Dogecoin or the hollow promises of penny stocks. We're diving into the abyss, staring down the most insidious, most ruinous, most expensive addiction known to man, being broke. Yes, you heard me. Being broke isn't a state of being. It's a goddamn luxury you can't afford. It's the silent killer of dreams, the invisible hand picking your pocket, the mathematical trap set to ensnare the unwary. And it's costing you everything. Here's the thing about money that most financial gurus get wrong. The ones with the perfectly coiffed hair and the toothy grins broadcasting from their mansions, living off your desperation. They tell you wealth is a result of pristine discipline, a monastic adherence to saving and poverty. Oh, that's just the ugly offspring of your bad habits. They stand on stages, pontificating about canceling Netflix to save $12 a month, as if that trickle of water is going to extinguish the raging inferno of your debt. They croon, "Stop buying lattes," as if your daily caffeine fix, not the systemic rot, is what's keeping you shackled. They want you to believe poverty is a moral failing, a consequence of your weak-willed desire for a latte. They don't want you to see the gears grinding beneath the surface, the systemic corruption. They don't want you to know you're not the problem. The game is rigged. But let's peel back the layers of that slick marketing facade. Let's dig into the brutal, undeniable truth enshrined in something far more profound than any B-school textbook, the Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness. It's not some obscure academic concept. It's a gut punch from a fictional character, Sam Vimes, in a Terry Pratchett novel. A goddamn fantasy writer understood the wealth gap better than 1,000 PhD economists high on their own supply. And it's a story etched in the very fabric of our brutal reality. The theory goes like this, so simple, so horrifyingly true it'll make your teeth ache. Take 2 men. One's riding high, dripping in the sweet nectar of generational wealth. The other? He's on the ragged edge every day, a tightrope walk over an abyss. The rich man, he strolls into the store, eyes the $50 boots. High-quality leather, double-stitched, built like a goddamn tank. He buys them. Those boots, they become a loyal companion for a decade. 10 years of dry, comfortable feet. Now the poor man. $50? That's a fantasy, a cruel joke. He's got $10, maybe, rattling in his pocket. So he buys the cheap knockoffs, the cardboard-soled abominations masquerading as footwear. They fall apart after one soggy season. The seams rip, the soles disintegrate, his feet are perpetually soaked, a constant low-level misery. Next year he's back, another $10 gone. The year after that, another. Over the same 10 years, the poor man has bled $100 on boots, double what the rich man spent. And what does he have to show for it? Still wet feet, still miserable, still perpetually buying the next shoddy replacement. The rich man, dry, comfortable, and a cool $50 richer. This isn't just about boots. It's the goddamn math of being poor. You are forced to pay a premium, a poverty tax, simply for the lack of upfront capital. You might be thinking, okay, Bobby, a nice story. Quaint. But how does that apply to my actual life here in the concrete jungle of 2025? I'm not buying boots. Oh, you poor deluded hamster. Look around you. This dynamic is a suffocating blanket covering your entire existence. Let's talk about something so basic, so mundane, it sounds ridiculous. Toilet paper. I know. But stay with me. If you've got $50 to spare, you're cruising the cavernous aisles of Costco or Sam's Club. You load up on the mega pack, a fortress of 2-ply. The cost per roll? Maybe 50 cents. You're set for months, a small victory, a psychological anchor of stability. That's smart money thinking, a bulk buy that defangs future price hikes. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, clinging to every dollar like a drowning man to a life raft, you don't have $50 to lock up in a toilet paper inventory. You have $4 maybe. So you shuffle to the corner store, the bodega, and you grab the 4-pack. The cost per roll, a mind-numbing $1.50. You are literally paying 3 times more for the exact same product, the identical ass wipe, simply because you couldn't afford the bulk price. This, my friend, is the poverty premium. It's not a theoretical construct. It's a bullet to your budget. It applies to mayonnaise, laundry detergent, diapers, especially diapers, those silent killers of a broke parent's sanity, and almost every non-perishable good haunting your house. The cold, hard math screams that if you are broke, your personal inflation rate is technically higher than a rich person's inflation rate because you are perpetually locked out of economies of scale. You're bleeding money on every single necessity. And it gets significantly darker than just groceries. Let's talk about the banking system. This is where I go from frustrated to genuinely enraged. Because the system, the very bedrock of our financial society, is designed to punish you for stumbling. It's a predatory beast, sleek and unforgiving. If you've got $10,000 nestled in your checking account, the bank treats you like royalty. White gloves, velvet rope, no monthly fees, free checks, a quaint relic, but a perk nonetheless. Maybe even a whisper of interest, though likely barely enough to buy a stick of gum. They see you as a whale, a fat, juicy account they want to keep happy. But let's say you're clinging by your fingernails. You've got $20 in your account, a forgotten subscription, a digital phantom. It's for $25. Boom, you're now negative $5. Does the bank in its infinite benevolence say, hey, looks like you're having a rough month, let's cover you for a day? Does it extend a hand, a gesture of basic human decency? Hell no, it pounces. It sinks its fangs in with a $35 overdraft fee. Think about the annual percentage rate, the APR, on that transaction. You effectively borrowed $5 for a single day, and it cost you $35. That, my friend, is an interest rate of 700%. A goddamn loan shark doing that, they'd be rotting in a jail cell, or worse. When a bank does it, standard policy. Last year alone, these behemoths raked in billions. Billions. In overdraft fees, almost exclusively from the hamsters with less than $1,000 to their names. The rich get paid interest, a subtle nod to their power. The poor pay interest, a crushing boot on their necks. It's not just a service fee. It's a wealth transfer from the bottom to the top, disguised as legitimate business. A legal heist, plain and simple. And look, I know what you're going to say. You're going to cluck your tongue and say, well, Bobby, just don't spend money you don't have. Theoretically, yes, you're right. In a sterile academic vacuum, your logic is unassailable. But psychology, that twisted, beautiful beast, plays a massive, undeniable role here. A role that most financial pundits gloss over because it's inconvenient. There's a concept, a brutal scientific reality called scarcity mindset. Studies have shown that when you are legitimately, existentially worried about money, when the gnawing question of how you're going to pay rent next week consumes your every waking moment, your functional IQ actually drops by about 13 points. That's the equivalent of missing a night of sleep, running on fumes. Your brain, that magnificent complex machine, is so utterly consumed with immediate survival, with putting out the raging dumpster fire of your daily existence, that you physically lose the capacity to make long-term strategic decisions. Your cognitive bandwidth is completely maxed out. This is why, when people are broke, they often make decisions that look, to an outsider, staggeringly stupid. They take the payday loan with 400% interest, signing their financial death warrant. They buy the lottery ticket, clinging to that microscopic, dopamine-drenched fantasy of escape. They grab the cheap, greasy fast food instead of cooking a healthier, cheaper meal. It's not because they're dumb. It's because their survival instincts have hijacked their frontal lobe. The Boots theory isn't just about the math of money. It's about the math of mental energy. The rich man doesn't just save $50 on boots. He saves the mental energy, the constant low-level hum of anxiety of not having to worry about his feet getting wet for 10 years. He can deploy that liberated brain power to invest, to learn a new skill, to launch a business, to thrive. The poor man is trapped in a loop of constant, exhausting, low-level panic, his mind a battleground of immediate needs. Let's dig deeper into the buy nice or buy twice phenomenon, escalating beyond boots to something far larger, far more crippling: cars. In the United States, unless you're living in a handful of hyperdense cities, a car isn't a luxury, it's a goddamn limb. It's your umbilical cord to work, to opportunity, to basic survival. A wealthy person with their pristine credit and ample reserves buys a 3-year-old Toyota or Honda. Maybe it costs $20,000. They pay cash, or they secure a low-interest loan at 4 or 5%. That car, a silent workhorse, runs for a decade with nothing more than routine oil changes. The total cost of ownership? Laughably low. They bought reliability, they bought peace of mind, they bought freedom. Now, behold the person with bad credit and no savings. They need a car. They need it to get to the job, to churn out the dollars that barely keep their head above water. They pull into a buy here, pay here lot. Predator's paradise. The smiling, predatory dealer sells them a high-mileage clunker, ticking time bomb worth maybe $4,000, but he slaps an $8,000 price tag on it. And because their credit score is a wasteland, the interest rate, a soul-crushing 24%, do the math. Over the life of that loan, they might pay $15,000 for a car that was worth a quarter of that. And here's the kicker, the ultimate cruel twist. That jalopy will likely break down spectacularly before the loan is paid off. So they're still making payments on a dead car, a rusting monument to their financial despair, while trying to scrounge for the down payment on a new one. This, my friends, is the poverty trap in high definition. You aren't just paying for the car. You're paying a risk premium because society, in its cold, calculating algorithms, has deemed you risky. And the only way to stop being risky is to have money, which you can't save because you're trapped, paying the damn risk premium. It is a cycle, a serpentine coil, designed to keep you exactly where you are, forever. And we haven't even touched on housing, renting versus owning. This is the ultimate, most brutal Boots theory example. When you rent, you are paying 100% interest. Every single dollar you hand over to your landlord is gone, vanished into the ether. You get zero equity. You are literally funding your landlord's mortgage plus his profit margin. You are building his empire, not your own. But to buy a house, to escape this financial servitude, you need a down payment. $10,000, maybe $20,000, a mountain range for most. If you're already bleeding 50% of your meager income in rent, because prices have soared into the stratosphere, how the hell are you supposed to save that down payment? You're trapped. Paying $2,000 a month for an apartment that would cost you $1,200 a month if you owned it. The rich person buys the house, lowers their monthly overhead, and gains an appreciating asset, a fortress against inflation. The poor person pays more, monthly, for an asset they will never, ever own. It is expensive to be poor because you are renting your entire existence. You are renting your shelter. You are renting your money through usurious credit card interest. You are renting your stability. So this is where it gets really interesting and honestly a little scary. There is a hidden tax on your time as well. A silent thief, pilfering your most valuable non-renewable asset. Think about the laundromat. If you have a washer and dryer in your house, doing laundry takes 5 minutes of active work. You toss it in, you walk away, you grab a beer. If you have to go to a laundromat, it costs you $5.25 in quarters. A trivial sum, right? But it also costs you 2 hours of your life. 2 hours. You have to travel there, wait for machines, wait for cycles, fold, travel back. That is 2 hours you cannot spend working, resting, learning, or simply being with your family. If you value your time at even minimum wage, the true cost of that laundry is astronomical. Or think about food deserts. If you live in a low-income area, the supermarket, that beacon of fresh produce and competitive prices, is often a distant dream. Instead, you have a convenience store, a glorified shack peddling inflated prices and processed junk. To get to the real store, you might need to take a bus, pay the fare, and sacrifice an hour or more of travel time. The friction of daily life, the sheer exhausting effort required for basic survival, is exponentially higher when you don't have money. Everything is harder. Everything takes longer. And time, as we know, is money. By stealing your time systematically, relentlessly, poverty steals your future earning potential. It's an insidious form of economic sabotage. Now, I can hear the objections already. Bobby, this is depressing. You're telling me the system is rigged, that I'm screwed because I can't afford the nice boots. And look, I get it. It is depressing. It's infuriating. But understanding the math, staring down the brutal equations, is the only way to break them. Most people ignore this cold, hard truth because it's painful, it's ugly, it forces self-reflection. But you have to look at the numbers. You have to dissect the wounds to find the exit. The problem is that standard financial advice, the vanilla pablum peddled by the mainstream, tells you to invest in the stock market to chase some elusive 8% return. They want you to play their game by their rules. But if you are poor, if you are drowning in the poverty premium, the best investment you can make isn't the S&P 500. It's escaping the Boots theory penalties themselves. If you're suffocating under credit card debt at 20% interest, paying that off isn't just good advice. It's a guaranteed 20% return on your money. No stock picker in the world, no hedge fund hotshot can promise you that. If you buy a reliable toaster for $50 so you don't have to replace the flimsy $10 one every single damn year, That is a quantifiable, tangible return on investment. The first step out of this trap, the first swing of the sledgehammer, isn't trying to get rich. It's trying to stop the bleeding. It's survival. This brings us to the most critical concept, the linchpin, the weapon that allows you to fight back, the buffer. The only way to break the cycle of buying the cheap, disposable boots is to artificially create a period where you don't buy any boots at all, so you can save for the good ones. This is why the emergency fund. That first, mythical $1,000, is not just boring advice. It is the tactical nuclear weapon that obliterates the poverty premium. When you have $1,000 in the bank, a flat tire transforms from a financial crisis that forces you into the waiting jaws of a payday loan to a mere annoyance. That $1,000 allows you to increase your insurance deductible, which, like a magic trick, lowers your monthly premium. See what happened there? Having money saved actually lowered your monthly bills. That $1,000 allows you to buy the bulk toilet paper to seize those economies of scale. It allows you to fix the small leak under the sink before it becomes a floor replacement job, a mold infestation, a $5,000 nightmare. That first chunk of liquidity, that initial $1,000, is the hardest money you will ever save in your entire life. But it is also, without question, the most powerful. It switches the game from desperate defense to aggressive offense. You've just bought yourself breathing room. You've earned the right to think long term. You have to start looking at your purchases not just as spending, but as solving a problem permanently. When you finally scrape together a little bit of cash, the temptation is immense. The scarcity mindset screams at you to treat yourself. Because you've been depriving yourself for so long, you've been living in the financial gulag. That's a psychological trap. You buy a nice dinner, a new shirt, a fleeting moment of normalcy, a cheap hit of dopamine. But if you take that cash and instead buy the high-quality work boots or the reliable tires or the dentist appointment to fix the cavity before it becomes a root canal, a $200 problem escalating into a $2,000 nightmare, you are effectively buying your future freedom. You are paying off the poor tax, so you never have to pay it again. It requires a brutal, fundamental shift in thinking from, can I afford this monthly payment, to what is the total cost of ownership? What is the lifetime value? The predatory dealership, the furniture store, the credit card company, they want you to focus on the monthly payment because that's where the true cost hides, a parasitic beast lurking in the shadows. You need to focus on the lifetime value, the long game. Here's what most people don't realize, and this is where the conspiracy theory edges into cold, hard reality. The entire system relies on your ignorance of these mechanics. Companies bank on you paying the late fees. They budget for your overdrafts. They depend on you buying the disposable razor blades again and again, feeding their bottom line instead of the safety razor that lasts a lifetime. They need you to be financially illiterate. When you start making decisions based on the boots theory, when you start attacking the poverty premium, you don't just become a savvy consumer. You become a bad customer for them. But you become an absolute rock star CFO for your own life. You have to get angry at the math. Use that frustration. Every time you see a late fee, every time you see a convenience fee, an ironic slap in the face if there ever was one, let that anger fuel you. Let it drive you to build that buffer. You are fighting a war against financial entropy, against the decay of your own stability, and your ammunition is liquidity. So what is the actionable step here? It's not sexy. It's not buy Bitcoin. It is this. Audit your life for vampire costs caused by being broke. Look at where you are bleeding money simply because you don't have money. Are you paying for private mortgage insurance PMI? Are you stuck with high interest on that clunker of a car? Are you still buying single rolls of paper towels from the convenience store? Identify the biggest leak, the gushing artery. Then ruthlessly cut everything else. And I mean everything. Until you have the cash, the cold, hard liquidity to plug that specific leak. If you need $500 to fix your car so it stops burning oil like a cheap cigar, selling your old clothes, doing DoorDash for a weekend, or even picking up some extra shifts, that's not just earning extra cash. It is a strategic strike against a future, larger expense. You are buying your way out of the trap, one pair of high-quality boots at a time. This journey, it's unfair. I won't lie to you and say it's an even playing field, a fair fight. It takes 10 times as much effort to claw your way from $0 to $10,000 as it does to leap from $10,000 to $100,000. The wind is in your face at the start, a gale force trying to pin you down. But once you understand that being poor is a mathematical penalty, a systemic burden, you can stop blaming yourself for being bad with money. You can stop the self-flagellation. And you can start attacking the penalties themselves. You stop playing their game and you start playing yours. You buy the boots that last. You buy the freedom to say no to the bad loan, to the predatory fee. And eventually, piece by painful piece, you walk right out of the hole. If this video sparked something in you, if you realized you've been paying the poverty premium without even knowing it, do me a favor and share this with someone who needs to hear it. We don't talk about this stuff enough. We talk about the wins, the glittering triumphs, but we rarely talk about the traps, the invisible prisons. And hit that subscribe button, because we are going to keep breaking down these obscure financial truths until we all have the high-quality boots. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Your task this week? Identify just one vampire costing your life and devise a ruthless plan to eliminate it by next month. Screenshot this ending screen and hold yourself accountable. Let's get to work.